Hi, this is Sally Wood for Be Inspired, and today I'm going to be showing you a variation of the simple cushion cover that I made the other day. The lady has given me this fabric, which is 54 wide, which is a standard, but the seat cushion is a few inches wider. So instead of running the fabric up and down, I'm going to run it sideways so I don't have to have a join in the top. You can do this with fabric that's non-directional, and so long as she doesn't have this as curtains in her bedroom, it will work. If she does, it will still work. Most people wouldn't even notice. So let's get on with it. The measurement I need is from the seam here all the way across. I hope this is long enough. From seam to seam, that's 58 inches. I'll need to cut it at 59. This one has the zip underneath, and I don't like doing it that way, but I am going to measure, because it's a good place to start, all the way around, and that comes to 47 inches. So here I need to cut it at least 48 inches wide. So I'll cut my first piece with that information. I'm going to cut this so it's a manageable size, and I need to pattern match. I'm going to measure from this point here across 59 inches. The outside of the pattern is nearly 60 inches, but I'm actually going to cut across here because that's a good place to finish. Then I can cut it down. It's quite a long pattern and I could cut it directly across, but I'm actually going to fold it across that line like this and cut pattern to pattern. Then I know at least one end is straight. Now sometimes patterns do vary. If I do that, the pattern does walk a little bit. That's just the way the fabric was dried, probably, because this is printed on. So I'm going to just cut on the fold. And then here again, I'm just going to go from that middle and I'll cut on through. Now this is a more manageable length of fabric to be dealing with. I'm going to find the centre of the pattern across the front. This will be on the front border of the new cushion. Fold this in half. Make sure that lines up. It's going to be 59 inches, so half of 59. If you use these soft measuring tapes, you can line up where you want and then just fold it in half. And that's my halfway mark on the fabric. So 29.5 inches. Make sure that's exactly in line. Measure from here all the way across to my 29.5 inches and cut. Now this is my new cut line on both sides. One side it's going to be easy because it's just a case of cutting over 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to cut all the way across on this side, 1/4 of an inch in from the outside edge like this. And then I'll match it up on the other side, because this was the straight side that I cut. That's why sometimes you just need to make the fabric a little bit narrower than you had originally wanted to. This looks like it's going to come on this side all the way along, so that's quite an easy match. I'll do this all the way along this side and then I'll work it out on the other. Because this is a thin fabric, you can actually do it this way. I don't usually advise it if it's a thick fabric. I'm going to fold that in half like that. Make sure both ends are even. Measure the outside here on the fold at the 29.5 inches and then cut up. I would just do one side at a time if you're going to do it this way, just in case you roll the fabric. I advise you to only do this on a thin fabric. For whatever reason, a thick fabric seems to not work and give you the exact measurements you want. It always comes up short. Move your measuring stick up as you go and then cut up towards the end of whatever you're measuring to and work your way all the way to the top. I've folded the fabric widthways because this is going to be on the front border. I will cut this the same way as I've just cut the other one. Put that there like that. Now I was very careful to get all of the fold through the centre here. The width was 47.25, so I want 48.25 at least, which makes this, if I fold it, I'm going to make it 24.25, running this along this folded edge, and again I'm going to cut up, moving the ruler up as I go. I would actually still do it one side and then the other, and then the fabric will be in a straight line. It won't twist. I don't need to worry about a zip border because the zip border is included in the cover. The last one I did, I didn't include it in the cover. I think because I was, oh I know, because I was going around the sides with the zip. This one I'm not going to be going around the sides with the zip. When you cut the length, just cut where the centre of the border is going to go, which is there. Now I need the depth of the cushion, and the depth is from the inside seam there to here, which is 4 inches. I wonder if it's 4 inches even. No, that's 3 3/4. Let me measure the other end. Sometimes these commercially made ones aren't even. That's 4. That's quite a big difference, 1/2 centimetre I suppose. My centre point has to be here, which means the top of the pattern, if I make it 5 inches, so that's 2.5 inches, comes to the top of here that I have to cut it. Let me work out where that is. I think I'm going to just do it here. I'm just going to fold it across and cut a piece out and then the other piece out. And I need 2 pieces like that to go on the ends. It will all make sense shortly. Sometimes patterns just take a little while to work out. There's the bottom of one side, and then here for this one. That's one end, and then I'll do the second one here. It's easier if you can do things like this, but I'm a great one for pattern matching, so I have a hard time just letting things go. Now this is when I start driving myself nuts, but it will look really good once it's done. Okay, so I'm going to measure back from the outside edge to 1 inch. This is where I want the side of this to be. And it's just inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that over like that, because if that comes over the inch, that will be there. I want it all to look as if it's going around the sides. You don't have to do this. This is just me being me. I can't help myself. Cut that piece. And this is the second piece. I'm going to lay on top so I don't have to remeasure and just make that match. Now all I have to do is mark the centre of there and the centre of there. Measure the outside there to there, which is 19 3/4. I'm going to make sure it's the same on the other side, just in case it is different. Sometimes they are. This one's 19.5. This is irritating. So I have a plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to the longer length. So 19 3/4 makes it 20 3/4 here. So I'm going to cut both of these to 20 3/4. That should give me plenty of room. The other fabric is a looser fabric, so it will stretch. This one's a tighter weave, so it doesn't have the same forgiveness about it. Again, I'm going to pop this on top of here so I don't have to remeasure, and cut here. Again, cut a centre mark on each of these ends. That should line up with where the zip goes. There we go. Here's my front border. It's marked, and I am going to make sure that I pattern match it. So this is the piece I'm going to put down. Put that on there like that. Slide that under 1/2 inch and start sewing from the centre. Sew to this corner here, and it's on a number 4, so the stitches are relatively tight. As I come into the corner, I'm going to cut at a 45-degree angle in. Actually, that's a bit tight. Let me put the needle down and lift that up. So I'm going to cut in at a 45-degree angle to just over 1/4 inch. Put that down. You can wind it by hand if you want to. And I am going to check to see if that works there. Pull that round and into place. Push the border out from the bottom and then sew along here. Now, I'm actually not going to go very far. Going to go to there. Okay, so I'm going to check the pattern comes around just where I want it, so it'll look like it follows on, and that's how I wanted the front to look. And sew a little way further back on this side, and then I will put the other front in so I don't make a mistake. I'm going to sew towards the back. I'm not going to go all the way to the back, maybe about halfway along. Overstitch your stitches that you've already put in. I've got the centre of the front, centre of the side. Put both fronts in first. When you get to your corner, go in at a 45-degree angle, just over 1/4 inch. You don't want to go 1/2 inch because otherwise you'll have a mess. Drop that needle back down, pick the foot up, twist the fabric and see if that's actually in line. Ah, yeah, that'll do. And then sew that into place. Once you've got your side pieces started, I would go almost to the back. I'm going to stop about 3 inches, which is about 7 centimetres from the end. Like that, that'll do. Now as I pull this into position and down like that, the longer length that I chose is going to be too long. I'm going to make it shorter, and I'm also going to only make the zip the 1/2 inch, not the extra wide, which I had thought on. This is why you overcut things and then you can cut back. To put the zip in, I'm going to make sure that the pattern is equidistant, so when it matches it's going to be the same as it bolts up to each other. Put this on the fold like that and pop the zipper foot down. I will fold the next pattern over so it matches like that, and I'm going to be going from pattern to pattern because that's nice and easy. Extend the zip to 5. When I get to the next pattern like that, I'm going to fold and put the following pattern into place. I've got to the end, I'm just going to cut that straight across, and now I'm going to run it down the other side. Again, I need to fold it where I've folded it for everything else. Should be even. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side off because I can't easily use that in place. What I will do, however, is make sure that the teeth are on the edge like that, all the way down, or just back from the edge. That'd be fine, because then it should cover the zip. Try to keep the pattern like this. I'm going to put a piece of fabric across the bottom here of the zip. The reason is the zipper will go behind here and it won't show. What I need to do is make sure the centre of the pattern is where I want it to be. So there's my centre. I know that this was slightly shy on this end. I'm going to make this part even. It's quite a ways down before I need to join this on. Pop that up like that. Hold that like that. Kind of guesstimate where I want to put this on. It might take me a couple of tries to get it in the exact place. There. Oh, blimey. First time. I think I'm in place. So I'm going to roll that all the way down. There. I did well today. First try. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, and then all the way down here. So I am going to put this back on this end. Whether I can get it exactly where I want it the second time will be a little bit of a miracle happening here. Put that in there and shimmy it into place when I can. It takes a while, I'll tell you. These zips are quite a pain in the butt. It's easier if you're doing a tube to take the zip out and do it in 2 separate pieces to put it back on. Let's see. If that has a loop here, then I got it wrong. Yeah, there's a loop here, so I need to move this side down just 1 tooth, which is very awkward to get. Investigate on the other side. Took a couple of times, but because it looks even, I know it's in place. I'm going to open this like this. I'm just going to put a pin across like that. Now that can't go any further back than there, and I'm going to turn this, and I'm also going to put a pin on this side, put it this way so that I can't open it any further than there. I know that on this side it's slightly cut in. It wasn't quite square when I cut it out, but that was the way the fabric had been previously cut, and if I'd moved the pattern over too much we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done. Let's go on down. I'm going to give it a generous 1/2 inch. It won't matter. I'm going to take that into my corner here, where I'm going to cut from that corner just over 1/4 inch at a 45-degree angle. So into the corner, pick this up and twist it. Now I really need to make sure that the zip is on the halfway mark, which it is. Look, there's my zip, here's my halfway mark. I could pull it slightly, that will work. Twist everything else into place like that. This comes across here, that is only just in for the 1/2 inch. I'm going to twist it so my 1/2 inch comes over at least nearly 1/4 inch, which will be fine. As long as the teeth are in, that's all that matters. Cut this to the midway point so I can't go wrong. And now as I pull this in, you can see that I will definitely hit my halfway mark. Go straight across like that. I know this is going to be short, so I'm going to pull that back just a little bit to make the difference up, because it is a little bit shy all the way along. Pull that back about 1/8 inch. Carry on going. Treat it like it's at the corner. Cut in. Needle down, foot up, twist into place. This is slightly shy, which I expected it to be, and it will pull into position as it goes. It's a little bit shy at the beginning end, but it comes in quite nicely. Sew across. Check your seam. It's coming in a little bit closer all the time, and we're about where it should be even. It should even out at this end. That's where it was cut to. Pull this into position. I'm going to sew to the corner. I would start on the front because that's where I want it to match, but it also means it has to really match. As I come here, I'm going to cut from the corner in just over 1/4 inch, sew to that corner, needle down, foot up, pull it into position, pop that down, and then sew across the front and across the original stitches. Now I'm going to check that that end has gone in nicely. And here we have it. We have matching front. I could mess and really make it work, but I don't see the point in it. It's close enough. And the back, where the zip is, looks about even too, actually. We've got the matching pattern there, the matching pattern there. We did quite a good job here. I think that's close enough. Okay, last thing to do, as I do with most of my zips, piece of fabric over like that, across the zip like that, and sew that into position. This helps the zip not have too much stress on it because it's sewn with a stabilizing fabric both sides. Reverse over the zip and across. Take the pin out, the zip will go only to that point. Now for the other end. On this end it's slightly different problem. I evened up this side slightly like I did on the other end so that this would come across. Now here I've got that piece of fabric straight to this corner here, so really no different from the other side. Cut in, needle down, foot up, twist. Now I was worried that nothing would fit. You get like that when you're putting patterns together, it's like, oh, that's not going to work. And then straight across, just like you did on the previous side. The only difference is I don't have to make this come into line, it's already in line. As you did before, cut into the corner and then sew across your stitches where you started. I've opened the zip. I'm not going to open it all the way. I'm going to check first, make sure I like everything. That goes across. Those corners went in identically, and so did the front. Actually, the front went in slightly better than the other side, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, to be really honest with you. Pop that down, put my piece of fabric again across on the inside and over the zip and sew that into place. And reverse and finish up. I'm pleased with that. This is the seat cushion. All the zips in line like this. The sides match this way and this way as well. I'm really pleased with this. Once it's been sat on, it will start doing its own thing. Thank you for joining me with this project. It's a slight variation on the Easy-Peasy cushion cover that I put out the other week. Sometimes if you're short of fabric, it's easier not to put the extra band on the back. If you wanted to bring the zip round, then put the band in. It's up to you. And another one without piping on. Not everybody likes to put piping on. I would like to say you don't actually have to put piping on, it's just that most of my customers want piping on their chair seats. So you could do a boxed chair seat without any piping on, that's perfectly okay. If you'd like to hear more from me, please subscribe and hit the bell button. A few thumbs up would be absolutely brilliant, and then I know how I'm doing. And in the meantime, see you later, take care. Ciao.